In a rare gesture, the Philippines publicly thanks China for their role in a dramatic rescue operation. It was a harrowing day for Filipino sailors caught in the heart of the disputed West Philippine Sea as a life-or-death struggle unfolded against the raging elements. At the break of dawn, a desperate distress call crackled over the radio, echoing across the storm-lashed South China Sea. The message was clear. Lives were at stake, and time was running out. Near the contested Scarborough Shoal, a human crisis was unfolding. The Singapore-flagged cargo ship Lion City Pride, crewed entirely by Filipinos, had capsized in the grip of a violent tropical depression, leaving its crew stranded and vulnerable. As the ship vanished beneath the waves, the crew fought for their lives, clinging to floating debris and desperately hoping for rescue amid the relentless storm. In an extraordinary turn, both the Philippine and Chinese Coast Guards, often seen as rivals in these contested waters, rushed to the scene. United by the urgent need to save lives, they put aside their differences, focusing solely on the rescue mission. Political disputes and territorial tensions faded into the background as both nations coordinated their efforts. Their ships braved towering waves and howling winds, working side by side in a rare display of international cooperation. For the stranded sailors, nationality no longer mattered. All that counted was the hope of rescue, the sight of a helping hand reaching out from any vessel, regardless of the flag it flew. News of the joint rescue operation quickly spread through Manila and Beijing. Government officials, usually at odds, set aside their disputes to coordinate logistics and ensure every possible resource was deployed. The world watched anxiously as rescue boats and helicopters battled the unforgiving weather. Meanwhile, families of the crew waited at the port, their hearts pounding with worry and hope, clinging to every update from the control room. In these perilous waters, two unlikely allies were brought together by the oldest and most sacred law of the sea, the duty to rescue those in peril, no matter the politics or the boundaries that usually divide them. The Lion City Pride, a Singapore-flagged bulk carrier, was on a routine voyage from Kaohsiung to Singapore, carrying thousands of tons of cargo across the vast expanse of the South China Sea. The ship cut a proud figure on the open water, its hull gleaming under the tropical sun as it pressed steadily toward its destination. On board, 20 seasoned Filipino mariners formed the heart of the crew, each bringing years of experience and camaraderie to the journey. Their skills and teamwork were the backbone of the vessel's daily operations. The journey began smoothly, with the crew sharing stories, laughter, and meals together, forging bonds that made life at sea feel like a second home. Spirits were high as they looked forward to reaching Singapore, eager for shore leave and reunions with loved ones. But as they neared the notorious Scarborough Shoal, the weather shifted dramatically. A sudden tropical depression swept in, transforming calm seas into a churning, unpredictable chaos that caught even the most experienced sailors off guard. The ship, sturdy but ultimately no match for the storm's fury, was battered relentlessly by towering waves and howling gale-force winds. The vessel groaned under the strain, each impact testing the limits of its steel and the resolve of its crew. The captain, a veteran of 30 years at sea, fought to keep the vessel afloat. He barked urgent orders from the bridge, directing his crew to secure the cargo, check the watertight doors, and brace for the worst as the storm intensified around them. Despite their experience and determination, the storm soon overwhelmed them. Water began flooding the decks, and the ship's stability was lost as it listed dangerously in the relentless waves. In a final act of hope, the radio operator sent out a mayday call, a desperate plea for help. Just moments before the vessel vanished from radar screens, swallowed by the storm, the crew was left at the mercy of the unforgiving sea, scattered among the wreckage, clinging to debris and to hope as they waited for rescue in the raging waters. In these contested and dangerous waters, their fate now depended on the speed and determination of rescue teams racing against time and the elements. The stage was set for an extraordinary test of international cooperation, as nations put aside their differences to save lives in the heart of the South China Sea. The end came swiftly for the Lion City Pride. Massive waves struck the ship, cargo broke free, and the vessel listed sharply, alarms blaring as darkness engulfed the decks. The captain gave the order to abandon ship. Chaos erupted as crew scrambled for life rafts and life jackets. Some were swept overboard, others jumped, all separated in the raging sea. The ship's hull loomed briefly before slipping beneath the waves, pulling at the survivors before vanishing. In the aftermath, the crew clung to debris, scattered, and alone in the storm. The realization, set in. Survival depended on being found quickly in one of the world's most contested seas. The storm raged on, but hope remained as rescue efforts mobilized. The clock was ticking for the 20 Filipino sailors. Their ordeal had only just begun. The Mayday call triggered immediate action in both Manila and Guangzhou. The Philippine Coast Guard dispatched its largest rescue vessel, BRP Gabriela Silang, and scrambled an aircraft to the last known position. China diverted its advanced rescue ship, Haixun 01, and launched a maritime patrol aircraft, creating a two-pronged search. Both nations issued alerts to nearby vessels, urging them to watch for survivors. The storm made the search perilous. High waves, poor visibility, and a vast area to cover. Command centers in both countries coordinated, sharing information and search grids. The mission was a race against hypothermia and exhaustion. Every minute counted. Political tensions were set aside for a singular goal: save lives. The success of the operation depended on cooperation and professionalism. In the heart of a disputed sea, a joint rescue was underway. The rescue unfolded in the geopolitically charged waters of Scarborough Shoal, claimed by both China and the Philippines. This area, rich in resources and strategic value, has long been a flashpoint for confrontation. China's 9-dash line overlaps with the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, fueling disputes and standoffs. Despite an international tribunal ruling in favor of the Philippines, tensions persist, with Coast Guard vessels from both sides constantly shadowing each other. The presence of U.S. naval patrols adds another layer of complexity. Against this backdrop, the rescue mission demanded careful navigation, both literal and diplomatic. Every maneuver was scrutinized, every communication weighed for its political implications. Yet in the storm, the focus remained on saving lives, not asserting claims. As the BRP Gabriela Silang and Haixun 01 converged in the vast expanse of the open sea, a remarkable cooperation began to unfold, one that would transcend borders and politics in the name of saving lives. The captains quickly established direct radio contact, their voices steady as they divided the search area and coordinated their efforts in English, the language of the sea. Each crew mapped out their assigned zones, determined to leave no one behind. "This is about life, not territory," a Philippine official declared, underscoring the urgency and gravity of the mission. China echoed the sentiment, with officials emphasizing the importance of humanitarian rescue above all else, setting aside disputes for the sake of those in peril. The first breakthrough came when the Chinese helicopter, braving strong winds and rough waves, spotted survivors clinging desperately to a life raft, their hope rekindled by the sight of help overhead. 5 Filipino crewmen were pulled aboard Haixun 01, shivering and exhausted, but alive. They were immediately treated for hypothermia and shock by the Chinese crew, who worked swiftly to stabilize them. Soon after, the Philippine vessel rescued 2 more sailors from a floating container, their ordeal in the cold sea finally over thanks to the relentless search. The 2 command centers, once separated by politics, now shared real-time updates and vital information, bridging the divide with professionalism and a shared sense of duty. As the day wore on and the sun dipped toward the horizon, coordinated searching led to more recoveries. Every sighting, every rescue, was a testament to what could be achieved when nations work together. The disputed sea, so often a source of tension, became a stage for cooperation, not confrontation, a rare moment of unity in troubled waters. The world watched in awe as rival coast guards worked side by side, their actions broadcast across continents as a symbol of hope and shared humanity. In the face of disaster, a bridge of humanity was built, one forged by compassion, courage, and the unwavering will to save lives, no matter the flag. The mission was far from over, but hope was rising with the dawn. As the search continued, the spirit of cooperation shone brighter than ever, lighting the way forward. Aboard Haixun 01, rescued Filipino sailors were met with care and compassion. Language barriers faded as Chinese crew offered warm soup and dry clothes, gestures of kindness that spoke volumes. Survivors called home, voices trembling with relief. As the storm eased, the 2 Sinars were the standard sounding for Chubutar, Sinan rescue ships, met at sea to transfer the rescued sailors. A firm handshake and salute between officers symbolized mutual respect and shared purpose. The Philippine captain's radio message. To the crew of Haixun 01, you have honored the laws of the sea. Thank you. The Chinese captain replied with equal grace, wishing them a safe journey. Not all news was good. 4 bodies were recovered and transferred with solemn respect. The search for the missing continued, but for 12 survivors, hope had triumphed. This rescue was not the first act of cooperation in the South China Sea, but it stood in stark contrast to frequent confrontations. In 2018, a Chinese vessel saved 2 Filipino fishermen near Reed Bank, a gesture praised in Manila, yet the 2019 Gemver 1 incident, where a Chinese vessel rammed a Filipino boat and left the crew adrift, remains a painful memory. These events reveal a complex reality. Official Coast Guard operations can demonstrate professionalism, while unregulated actors sometimes ignore the code of the sea. The Lion City Pride rescue showcased the potential for cooperation, even as past tragedies serve as cautionary tales. The sea's dangers demand unity, but the region's history warns of persistent risks. In moments of crisis, humanity can prevail, if only briefly. The Lion City Pride rescue is a story that transcends politics, blending the human and the geopolitical. It shows that even bitter rivals can cooperate when lives are at stake, offering a rare model for de-escalation. Yet this act of unity does not erase deep-rooted disputes over sovereignty and maritime rights. The same ships that saved lives may soon face off again over contested waters, but for the sailors, nationality was irrelevant. The mission was survival. The handshakes and words of thanks were reminders of shared humanity beneath the uniforms. The South China Sea remains a stage for both conflict and compassion. The rescue stands as a symbol. When the waves rise, the flag of humanity must fly highest. The search for the missing continues, a somber note in a story of unexpected grace. In the end, the sea's greatest law prevailed: help those in peril, no matter the flag.